The film begins in Taipei City, Taiwan, where a wealthy businessman named Kwong has just completed his first trial. For the past year, Kwong has been under police investigation for allegations of various illegal activities, including counterfeiting goods, illegal fishing, and other immoral actions. These activities have even caused the loss of several lives. Facing the media, Kwong apologizes to the victims and all the citizens of Taipei for the chaos caused by the situation. However, Kwong firmly denies all allegations and promises to prove that the accusations against him are untrue. Frustrated by the relentless pressure from the media, Kwong tries to call his wife, Joey, to calm himself down. Unfortunately, Joey doesn't hear the call as she is busy enjoying time alone at a luxury sports car showroom. Like many socialites, Joey is immediately captivated when she spots a striking red Ferrari, the latest model that looks both sleek and incredibly expensive. At that moment, Joey eagerly asks the salesperson for a test drive, and the salesperson happily obliges. Unexpectedly, her reckless driving skills nearly give the salesperson a heart attack out of sheer fear. Once the test drive is over, Joey decides to purchase the Ferrari outright, paying in full without any installment plans or loans. She then brings the luxury sports car home without hesitation. When Joey arrives home, she is greeted by Kwong, who immediately questions where she has been all day, especially since Joey ignored his calls. Kwong also demands to know why Joey bought a new car, considering they already own multiple luxury cars that rarely get driven. With a calm demeanor, Joey silences Kwong by saying that she bought the Ferrari as a birthday gift for Kwong. After that, Joey heads to the room of her son, Raymond. Unlike her earlier cold demeanor, Joey's face softens as she hugs her beloved son. At that moment, Joey notices Raymond packing his clothes into a suitcase. When Joey asks what he is doing, Raymond explains that he plans to leave for Paris because Raymond can no longer tolerate his father's actions, particularly Kwong's destruction of the ocean's ecosystem, which Raymond deeply cares about. Raymond then expresses disappointment in his father and declares that he does not want to be home when Kwong is arrested. Hearing her son speak so harshly about Kwong, Joey warns Raymond not to badmouth her husband. Joey reminds Raymond that Kwong has done a lot to help their family in the past. It is revealed that Kwong is not Raymond's biological father, which explains their strained relationship. Through Joey's story, it becomes clear that Raymond's biological father was a chef who died in a car accident. Meanwhile, in Minneapolis, a man covered in wounds is held at gunpoint by several police officers inside a Chinese restaurant. The officers intend to arrest him. Moments later, a female officer named Charlotte, who is the man's superior, arrives and orders the police to release him. The man, identified as John, is revealed to be working with Charlotte as agents for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA. Charlotte was visibly furious and frustrated with John's behavior. Instead of solving the problem, John seemed to be creating new ones. Eventually, John confessed that while undercover with his partner Santiago at the restaurant, their cover was blown. Apparently, Santiago had accidentally dropped his police badge, exposing their identities to the criminals. This led to a fierce fight between John and the gang members. Luckily, John was skilled in kung fu and managed to defeat the criminals one by one. It turned out that these men were working for Kwong Enterprises. Even after John threatened one of Kwong's subordinates to confess the boss's crimes, the man remained silent and refused to provide any information. To make matters worse, the remaining gang members managed to escape before John could act further. Although he didn't get any direct information, John secretly uncovered solid evidence: a bag of illegal substances hidden in canned food. This discovery gave the police hope, confirming their suspicions about Kwong's illegal activities. The police quickly announced the findings to the public and the media. Unfortunately, despite having evidence of the contraband, the police couldn't arrest Kwong. There were no records of any illegal transactions, and Kwong's powerful influence allowed him to bribe his way out of justice. Determined to find stronger evidence, John requested permission from his superior to travel to Taipei and dig deeper into Kwong's operations. However, Charlotte, his superior, denied his request outright, citing concerns for his safety. Instead, Charlotte suggested he take a weekend off to relax. Meanwhile, at Kwong's residence, Raymond entered his office and seemed intrigued by a rhinoceros figurine on Kwong's desk. Just as Raymond reached for it, Kwong appeared, shifting his focus by asking what Raymond needed. Coldly, Raymond replied that he was simply looking for a pencil sharpener for his sketches. Despite Kwong's attempts to win him over, Raymond maintained his distance, showing little interest in his adoptive father's efforts. At the same time, John arrived at the airport, dressed in Hawaiian-style attire, supposedly for a vacation in Taipei. Strangely, John booked his ticket under a false identity, using the name George Washington. Once in Taipei, his friends Freddie and Simons picked him up and drove him to a hotel. Despite planning only a week-long trip, John had brought along 3 large suitcases. Surprisingly, these suitcases didn't contain beachwear or toiletries, but an arsenal of guns and pistols. John's true purpose in Taipei wasn't relaxation. It was to locate Kwong's ledger. Back at his residence, Kwong summoned Joey to his office. To Joey's shock, she found Raymond tied up and being tortured by Kwong's henchmen. Joey demanded to know why Kwong would treat his adoptive son so cruelly. Struggling to contain his anger, Kwong revealed that Raymond had betrayed him to the police and secretly taken his ledger. Desperate to protect her son, Joey tried to convince Raymond to reveal the ledger's location, hoping to prevent Kwong from harming him further. Whispering, Raymond revealed that the ledger had already been handed over to an agent named John. Hearing the name, Joey was startled, as though she recognized him. Raymond then asked Joey to stall Kwong for 5 minutes. Though she didn't fully understand her son's intentions, Joey trusted him and believed he was doing the right thing. Joey began confronting Kwong to buy time, using every possible tactic. Unfortunately, Kwong, growing increasingly annoyed, pressured Raymond to reveal the ledger's location. Not wanting his mother to get hurt, Raymond reluctantly confessed that the ledger was at Marriott Hotel in the room 2018. Upon hearing this, Kwong immediately ordered his men to retrieve it. Feeling betrayed, Kwong then turned his fury on Raymond, intending to eliminate him. Unexpectedly, the mother and son duo sprang into action, working together to fight off Kwong. At the hotel, John received a mysterious book, which turned out to be Kwong's ledger, sent by Raymond. Seizing the golden opportunity, John quickly took pictures of every page with his phone. Meanwhile, Kwong's men arrived at the hotel. However, when room 2018's door opened, it wasn't John they found, but a quirky-looking woman. Realizing they had been tricked by Raymond, Kwong and his men were enraged. Soon after, Joey and Raymond arrived at the hotel and headed straight to John's room. Seeing Joey left John visibly shocked, as if he were seeing someone from his past. Without wasting time on pleasantries or personal matters, Joey warned John that Kwong had sent assassins to kill him. The news confused John, especially after realizing Joey had ties to a criminal like Kwong. Joey's explanation shocked John even further, nearly giving him a heart attack. She revealed that she had married John's target, Kwong, and that Raymond was actually John's biological son. While John was still processing this information, Kwong's men suddenly arrived and attacked them. In the midst of chaos, John tossed a smoke bomb outside, blocking the attackers' view. He then threw a grenade, successfully halting their gunfire. Taking advantage of the confusion, John led Joey and Raymond out of the hotel unnoticed. Meanwhile, the police arrived at the hotel to investigate. However, upon realizing Kwong's men were present, they quickly withdrew. Joey explained to John that Kwong had connections with almost every officer in the city. Furthermore, since John wasn't officially on duty investigating Kwong, his presence in the country without authorization could lead to his arrest. As they were pursued by numerous police vehicles, Joey remained calm, demonstrating her excellent driving skills. Remarkably, amidst the high-speed chase, Joey, John, and Raymond even discussed family matters. During this tense moment, Joey devised a clever plan to outwit the police. Her idea worked, leading the police to mistakenly arrest a food delivery driver instead of her. Meanwhile, John, Joey, and Raymond had already boarded a train. Once they reached their destination, they stole a car from the parking lot and drove as far as possible to escape the city. The next morning, John woke up confused, finding himself in a hospital room. It turned out Joey had brought them to her hometown. John had lost a lot of blood after being shot, so Joey rushed him to the hospital for a blood transfusion. Fortunately, Raymond's blood type matched John's, and he willingly donated his blood to save his father. Before they left, the doctors and patients approached Joey to thank her for being the hospital's largest donor over the years. Afterward, the three of them headed to Joey's childhood home. There, John and Raymond met Joey's grandmother, lovingly called Papa, as well as Raymond's cousins. Raymond, who knew little about his mother's family, demanded that Joey tell him everything she had kept from him. He even admitted that he didn't know how his parents first met. Joey finally opened up about her past. She explained that she was once known in her village as a skilled mechanic with expertise in automotive repairs. One day, the villagers accidentally discovered a sack of illegal goods while fishing at sea. Papa, realizing the danger, chose not to report the discovery to the police and kept it a secret, knowing the villagers could be in grave danger if the truth came out. A few days later, Kwang's gang arrived in the village searching for their missing goods. Sensing the danger, Papa told Joey to flee, fearing the gang would not only reclaim their goods but also abduct the village girls. Unfortunately, Kwang's men intercepted Joey on the way. Luckily, her exceptional driving skills allowed her to escape. Instead of being captured, she impressed the gang, and they offered her a job working for Kwang. This was how Joey first met John, who was then a DEA agent sent to track Kwang's drug shipments in Taipei. Disguised as a client, John found himself in a high-speed chase with Joey, who was transporting the goods. Yet, instead of seeing Joey as an enemy, John was captivated by her beauty and fearless driving. Their intense and adrenaline-filled encounter marked the beginning of a closer relationship, eventually leading to romance. However, their relationship was short-lived, as John abruptly decided to end it. He chose to focus on his duties as a police officer, a decision he made reluctantly to protect Joey from being implicated in Kwang's criminal activities. Unbeknownst to John, Joey was pregnant at the time, but hadn't had the chance to tell him. This misunderstanding became the root of their unresolved tension. Hearing this, John was filled with regret and guilt for not giving Joey the opportunity to share her news. He realized how selfish he had been, failing to understand the feelings of the woman he loved. Deeply remorseful, John begged Joey for another chance to mend their relationship. Though she hadn't fully forgiven him, Joey couldn't deny her lingering feelings for John. Elsewhere, Kwang was reviewing CCTV footage showing his wife, Joey, and his adoptive son, Raymond, escaping with John. The sight of his wife leaving with her ex filled Kwang with anger and determination. He vowed to reclaim Joey at any cost. At the same time, one of his subordinates called to inform him that the police wanted to interrogate him regarding the Marriott Hotel incident. The next day, Kwang received a call from the police regarding the shootout at the hotel, as his men had been caught at the scene during the incident. However, Kwang dismissed the accusations, claiming that whatever his employees did after working hours was none of his business, and he held no responsibility for their actions. To divert police suspicion, Kwang insisted that they should focus on capturing John, accusing him of killing his men and kidnapping his wife. Kwang then ordered his men to search for Joey everywhere, including her hometown. Meanwhile, John and Joey urged Raymond to share everything he knew about Kwang's ledger. Raymond revealed that he had once noticed a rhinoceros statue in Kwang's office. John suspected the statue was not ordinary, but a hard drive containing evidence of all of Kwang's criminal activities. Feeling responsible, Raymond volunteered to retrieve it, but both parents immediately opposed his idea. The following morning, Kwang's men arrived in Joey's hometown and successfully tracked her down. Just as they were about to report to Kwang, John appeared, pointing a gun at them and ordering them to remain silent. Afterward, John rushed home to take Joey and Raymond away, only to realize that Raymond had already left to retrieve the hard drive from Kwang's residence. At Kwang's house, Raymond was caught red-handed trying to steal the rhinoceros statue. Kwang restrained him and called Joey, informing her that her son was now with him. To ensure Raymond's safety, John agreed to exchange himself as a hostage. Although Joey was reluctant, John reassured her that everything would be fine. At the meeting point, John and Kwang finally came face-to-face for the first time. However, Kwang broke their agreement, forcibly taking Joey while leaving John surrounded by his men, who were ordered to eliminate him. Refusing to give up, John fought back and quickly defeated Kwang's henchmen. Meanwhile, Kwang drove off, clearly disappointed with Joey for leaving him. He expressed his anger, claiming that despite his flawed methods, he had only wanted to build a family with her and Raymond, the people he loved. John, determined to stop Kwang, pursued the car with all his might. Eventually, he caught up and managed to strike Kwang with a powerful kick, forcing him to flee. John continued the chase until he found Kwang hiding inside a movie theater. When John aimed his gun at Kwang, the audience screamed in panic and rushed to escape. Strangely, an elderly couple stayed behind, seemingly entertained by the intense standoff between John and Kwang. John and Kwang then engaged in a fierce one-on-one fight. After a brutal exchange, John emerged victorious, and Kwang was immediately arrested by the police for illegal firearm possession. Later, John was temporarily detained, but was released with the help of his superior, Charlotte. Despite receiving a stern reprimand from Charlotte for causing trouble, John redeemed himself by successfully securing the hard drive containing detailed records of Kwang's illegal activities. With this evidence, Kwang was finally sentenced to a long prison term. After enduring a challenging and action-packed week, John, Joey, and Raymond spent a peaceful vacation in Paris as a happy, united family. Not only did John regain his wife and son, but he also welcomed a beautiful little daughter, the child he shared with Joey. Although they had been separated by distance and time, they proved that family always finds its way back to the warmth and comfort of home. The film ended. Moral lesson from the story: if your driving scares a car salesperson, you're either really rich or really dangerous. And remember, family drama always starts with unanswered phone calls and ends with someone hiding a hard drive.